Hey everybody, it's Dawn from Glory Grace Farm. I just thought I'd check in with you and give you a plant and chick and duck update. Everything's going really well. The cow stuff's just taking off. I've definitely got to get more dirt and get these separated out to get them ready to set out in the garden when we get it plowed up here, hopefully in the next few days. The tomatoes, since I separated them, are doing fantastic. Everything's just really coming out since they've got more space. But look at these squash. I mean, the tops are pretty enough. Look at all that root growth. I really believe using that mycorrhizal fungi powder, and I put it in a gallon of water, and I treated each little individual plant's dirt with my syringe with just like maybe a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of water per plant bag. And I mean, it seems like the roots are just going nuts, because I also did these. From the top, there's only one corn way back there, a little tiny thing that you can see is coming up there, peeking his little head out. But when you lift up the trays, it's a whole nother story. And that's what I had read about this mycorrhizal fungi, that it made the root systems just explode. And you can see the roots are already coming out the bottoms of the trays, and I just planted them a few days ago. You can't see them on the tops yet, but they're there, coming out. These little baby cedar trees were growing at the base of my magnolia, and we've got another one that's actually more of a formed little baby tree, but it's almost a foot tall, that I'm going to try to transplant. But these are just little, I mean, seriously, little baby trees. So I've got them, trying to let them root out some more, and then we're going to relocate them and hoping they'll come out. But my tomatoes are just really looking beautiful. Look how strong and tall that one is standing. I've been switching them back and forth today, because in the mornings the sun is on this side of the greenhouse, and then in the evenings it's on this side of the greenhouse. So we've moved them over here so that they can get the evening sun and keep on keeping on. But I'm so happy because my peppers finally started coming out. My other squashes, these are the scalloped yellow bush. I've never grown those. We did crooked necks last year. This year we're doing straight necks, and then the 8-ball zucchinis, which I've never done as well. The other, I tried to do butternut, and I tried to do spaghetti squash, I believe it was last year, from my mom. And neither one of those did well where I set them out at. So I'm hoping this year will be another story. This is the only thing, the only negative I've really found about these bags. Because to me, they're not hard to fill. They probably harder than, like, you know, pouring dirt into these hard structures and just raking it across till they're packed in. But if you just use your little gardening spade and hold the bag on one side, you can just scoop the dirt in real easy. Tap it down on a hard surface, let it settle, put some more in, and go from there. But the falling over when you're watering is the kind of negative thing, because they just kind of collapse. But these last one I transferred, I filled them up deeper so that I would hopefully not have that problem, and the tomatoes would have plenty of room to get their roots going deep down good before we got them transferred. So when we set them in the ground, you know, they're going to go even deeper than these bags are, own up the plant, and hopefully everything's going to do really well. My sweet potato slips are coming out really well down there. The one I did in the dirt is not growing hardly at all. So definitely the growth is much better in a body of water. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll go over and see the little ducks and the chickens. And this is gross, but I've got fly tape in here because we just had every kind of bug that flew coming in the greenhouse, and it was just super annoying to come in here, and willow flies and everything else would be everywhere. I gotta get shavings. As you can see, the ducks have finally gotten to the stage where they just keep it wet all the time. So the big girls are gonna get to meet the little girls tonight. I'm gonna have Ty help me get them put in the pen and move them out there this evening, because they've went several nights now without heat, and they're getting all their feathers and doing really well. So we're going to put them in the little dog crate so they'll be separate and safe, and get them introduced, and then I'll figure out a little box of some sort that I can put a door on, that they can get in and out of to get away from the big girls. Because the way, if you saw the video about the chicken tractor, I had a big board that went all the way across, and I thought for sure the big girls could not get under the gap, and I was wrong. They immediately learned how to go under the gap, and it was like watching the chicken limbo, because they just squatted as far down as they could and got out. So we've either got to lower the board or figure something else out. But the ducks are quickly growing and will soon surpass the chicks and everything, just because they do grow so much faster. But they're in their little not so cute teenage phase of getting their feathers in, but they're still adorable little baby chicks. They're growing, hanging out together. One minute they'll be hanging out with the ducks, the next minute they'll be together and segregated in the little pen. But everybody's doing really well. Probably tomorrow I'm going to go so that I can put this waterer back in the big coop for everybody. I'm going to get a new waterer that the Tractor Supply has that's made for ducks to be able to get their heads down in better. I'm hoping they still have some more, otherwise I guess I'll be having to try to look for it on Amazon. But everybody's doing really well, growing really well. And I don't remember if I've said this before, I don't continuous feed. I haven't pretty much the whole time I've raised chicks, especially, after my first time round. I just don't see the need in it. My chicks grow fine. I feed periodically through the day. Pretty much I do about 3 times a day, and it's like now they're still feed in the tray. They've got it, of course, scratched around and everything, but I always give them enough to where there's some left over, and they eat on that till I give them some more. And so I won't give them any more till tonight, close to bedtime, to get their bellies full, because you can see their little bellies are plenty full and everything. So I don't, it's so wasteful to me, even with chicks, to do continuous feed sometimes, because they've learned how to scratch. And so, like for this, because they've gotten bigger, I took the lid off of the feeder tray, because I can't stand the jar feeders. After they get a certain size, they just knock them over, they land on top of them and poop in them, and it's just, they do the same thing with the waterers. They land on top of the waters and poop, so they're constantly having to change out water, which I need to do again now because they keep doing that. I wish they'd made some kind of cap for this size. I know there's a different kind of waterer that has like a crown thing you can put on it, but that keeps them from perching on it. But it's all good. But they waste so much feed if you leave it out all the time for them. So I have no problem with healthy chicks growing, at the same rate of everybody else's. And I just feed whenever, because they kind of tell you. When they see me coming, they start letting me know that they're hungry, and yay, somebody's going to give us food. But then after I'm in here and working, they're fine. They're like this. They no longer are hollering, because they've already been fed and they're full and content. And everything is not being wasted. So, like I said, I got to get shavings. Chicks are going to go out to the big girls. And then the duckies will have this all to themselves. And I think we're going to work on getting an A-frame made for them to have out in the yard to move around. Something lighter that we can move around and keep them separate from the chickens, because they are going to be so big and so much messier and everything. So I think it'll be fun to keep them separate and have a pond and let them do their ducky thing. Maybe put them in the front yard to fertilize the front yard while the chickens are moving around the rest of the yard. So I just wanted to check in with everybody. I'm trying really hard to get my lawnmower going. I thought we had it because it just needed a new battery, but undoubtedly the gas got really cruddy, so I'm trying to see about cleaning out some of the lines. I'm probably going to put new lines on it and all that fun stuff, because it's just, if it's not one thing, it's another with that lawnmower. That's the way it's been for the last several years. But we do what we got to do when we got to do it. So I will check back in with y'all another time. I think everybody's going to lay down, take them a little nap. So y'all have a good evening. God bless. See y'all again soon.